welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then a little introduction. This is a place to share stories, adventures, and everything I wish I had known before embarking on them. My name is Dine, and you're watching From Fiji to Here. Welcome to Germany! In order to get to Berlin from Copenhagen, we had a very long and intricate travel day. Due to some station closures, we couldn't take a train from the main Copenhagen station, so we had to take a shuttle bus an hour, maybe a little more, to another train station.
This is Siera traveling. Just sits there eating carrots in the middle of nowhere.
And once we finally boarded our train there, well, then this happened.
So apparently the train is going on a ferry that we have to get off the train to go on the ferry to get across some body of water. So we were on a train that got on a boat and now we're gonna cross the ocean. Ocean? Maybe this is a sea. Hey Siera, where are we going? I don't know.
How do we get there?
By boat, I hope. While heading to Berlin one day, Dine and Siera found something strange. A train on a boat that would lead the way.
You still have to find a better
What was
their
the
new
next
floating friend.
Or what type of transportation would happen next?
I don't know. We gotta sit down and write.
It's gonna be a great song, guys. Soundtrack coming soon.
We rolled with the punches and enjoyed our time on both the boat and the train ride after, until the delay resulted in a whole train of people missing their original train and had to fit on the next one for a very uncomfortable 4-hour train ride.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Hey Siera,
Hey, Gina.
Einen schönen guten Tag, werte Fahrgäste. Willkommen
Where's your seat?
nach München Hauptbahnhof.
Our first day in Berlin, we thought we would get a feel for the city by taking a walking tour, as well as diving into the layers of history that the city's built on. We signed up for a free walking tour through Brewers Berlin, and it was absolutely awesome. I would highly, highly recommend it. Our guide Sebastian was not only informative, but also passionate about the city and the history and culture enclosed within it. The tour began with the Reichstag building, currently the parliament building for the Federal Republic of Germany, but also an important piece in the history of Nazi Germany. On February 27th of 1933, only 4 weeks after Hitler was sworn in as Chancellor of Germany, there was an arson attack on this very building. The Nazis used this fire to claim that the communists were plotting against the German government, which evidently resulted in the Reichstag fire decree, nullifying many of the key civil liberties of German citizens and permitting for opponents of the Nazi to be legally imprisoned. Hitler also used this incident to obtain emergency powers, resulting in the Enabling Act, giving him power to dictate the country as he saw fit. To this day, it's still uncertain how the fire was started. However, there are tunnels beneath the building that connected to a house, which at the time was occupied by a Nazi party member. So we follow the tour onto the Memorial of the Sinti and Roma victims of National Socialism. Located in a small garden, it's a dark shimmering pool of water holding a single triangular stone. It's meant to represent the badges that were worn in the concentration camps. The memorial is dedicated to the 220,000 to 500,000 people murdered in the Nazi genocide of the European Sinti and Roma descent. Surrounding the pool are the names of places where these crimes took place. Our second stop on the tour was Brandenburg Gate. Held up by 6 stone columns stands a woman riding a horse-drawn carriage, called Quadriga. Commissioned by Freddy the Great as a representation of peace, only the royal family was allowed to pass through the center path at the time. Fun fact, when Napoleon invaded and won, he took Quadriga back to France, which was followed by Prussia invading France and stealing her back. The damage caused by World War II can be seen on the pillars, where patchwork covers the bullet holes. We continued walking onto the memorial of the murdered Jews of Europe, often referred to as the Holocaust Memorial, and paid our respects to the lives lost. The memorial consists of 2,711 concrete slabs laid out in a grid-like pattern, although slightly askew, which gives you the feeling of the walls closing in as you walk through. There's no names, no dates on the stones, but rather a place to grieve for all the lives lost who never received a grave. Not necessarily a stop, but a worthy landmark to note. The statue is the profile of Johann Georg Elser, the man who was the closest in history to assassinating Hitler, all on his own. His story is well worth looking into if you're interested, but I'll leave it for another time. We arrived at the largest portion remaining of the Berlin Wall. Built during the Cold War, it was used to separate East Germany from West Germany, with a dead zone in between. After the war, the city thought that to lift the divide it felt within its people, the wall should be completely removed, and there are currently only a few pieces remaining still. Not far from here is another memorabilia from the Cold War, Checkpoint Charlie, a USA-controlled crossing from East Germany to West Germany. There were other legal crossing points run by the British and the French. However, in order to cross, you were in need of a visa, and that was extremely hard to obtain if you were not a diplomat. The tour ended at Gundargen Market, a square made up of 3 buildings, a German cathedral, a French cathedral, and a concert hall. The square is where Berlin holds its most famous Christmas market. Both physically exhausted from the walking all day, as well as emotionally exhausted from the weight of the historical events that happened here, we decided to wind down at the Liquidrome. Due to the need for privacy, there was no photography allowed inside. However, once in the building, it was a very spa-like atmosphere. There was a bar with drink and food options, as well as multiple different saunas, hot tubs, cold tubs to soak and relax in. We had come for one pool in specific, however. The saltwater floating pool with underwater music and light show. The saltwater immediately made you feel lighter, and floating around made you reach a state of peacefulness. We spent hours just floating, watching the lights flicker to the different beats and sounds of the music. Day 2 in Berlin, I woke up sick as a dog, likely due to our experience in Iceland. However, it resulted in a late start to the day, but once we got up and made it out of the house, we made our way to Body Worlds Museum. Berlin is home to the first museum of the Body Worlds display, although more have popped up throughout the world since then. A one-in-a-kind type of museum, Body Worlds is the first exhibition of its kind to inform visitors about the sciences such as anatomy, physiology, and health through the use of viewing real preserved human bodies. It was absolutely fascinating, and I learned a lot about health in general, as well as diseases and what they actually mean and do to your body as a result.
That one.
We left the museum to make our dinner reservation at Note de Vegas for Dine in the Dark. The concept is to relax your sense of vision and entice the rest of your senses to aid you in the daily task of dining. The servers at this location are visually impaired and help guide you through the experience and seating you at a table and explaining how to locate the items that you're looking for. I was a little nervous not being able to see anything. Would I feel overwhelmed? How do I avoid spilling something on myself? Am I going to feel claustrophobic? I'm not going to lie. When I first went into the room, I felt all of the above. It was completely overwhelming. It was pitch black, not a smidge of light. However, it was comforting that we had met our server prior to entering the dining room. So we knew the sound of his voice. We kind of got to know each other a bit. And by the time we were seated and talking with the Dutch couple that we were sharing a table with, all those feelings began to subside as I welcomed the experience. The food was amazing, like mind-blowingly good. And getting to know more about our server and focus on the food itself was a timeless memory that I won't forget anytime soon. Obviously, I don't have any footage from this experience since it was pitch black, but we ended up staying there for more than 5 hours. This sums up our time in Berlin. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below, as well as any videos you'd be interested in seeing. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button below to be notified of more like it, as well as to join me on my future journeys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next destination. Bye, guys!
Siera traveling. It's a wild Siera out here in the land of Denmark. We have to wait until she walks. We must see what it's like, how she gets up. Be careful not to get too close. She might bite, depending on how many sleeps she's had. All these different languages are messing with my head. I can't speak English properly. The train is here. She's going to get up now.
That was actually better than I thought.